The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
Good day to all Pompey fans. Here is the news from what we call the Pompey Sound news desk for 5 p.m. on this Friday afternoon through until 5 p.m. Tomorrow, the Saturday. And we begin with what is probably the big story coming out of Fratton Park at the moment, which is the future of John Mousinho.
When John Mousinho is asked if he'll be at Fratton Park next season, he replies emphatically,
"Yes, ultimately the decision is above my head, but I've got another 2 years on my contract. My biggest aim, first and foremost, is to make sure we stay in the league. Then I would very much like the opportunity for the club to progress, and me to progress with the football club. First and foremost, we can't get too far ahead of ourselves. We have to make sure we stay in the league. So it's not something that I'm actively thinking about. But I genuinely do think if we do stay in the league, we would have spent 2 seasons in the Championship and will be in a position to look at what that looks like next year. We will be able to increase the budget as we have done year on year. Maybe we can increase it slightly more significantly, and take a view over where the league is as a whole. We can see what it's like with sides coming up, coming down, and see what spending levels are like through the league as a whole. Then we can go from there. We can look at what it needs to be properly competitive at the level. I've no doubt we can do that."
He's no doubt, and it doesn't sound as though he has many doubts. I think he's the kind of person, if he does have doubts, he keeps them to himself, because it's very important that the captain of the ship looks as though everything's under control. He has said more than once that he wants a bit more money to spend in the coming window. If we do go down, perish the thought, but if we do, we're still going to need some money to spend, surely, in order to cover some of the injuries that we now inevitably will accrue right almost from before day one of the season, and also perhaps to add a little bit of extra muscle or class or both in one or two places. So it's good news that John Mousinho is confident that he's going to be at Fratton Park next season and the season beyond that.
Sky Sports have been previewing Pompey's clash with Derby. Graham Weaver and Simeon Golem are in discussion.
Portsmouth just a point in their last 4 games, and with some of the results we saw in midweek, they've been dragged right back into it as well, into the relegation scrap. Derby beaten at Millwall in midweek to miss the chance to close the gap on the playoffs. Must win for both, really, for very different reasons at Fratton Park, is it not, Gaz?
Yeah, I think, John Mousinho was desperately disappointed, wasn't he, with particularly the first half display against Swansea at the weekend, because obviously Fratton Park, the tight pitch, the closeness to the stands, everything we say about Fratton Park and the fact that Portsmouth can use that to their advantage. He was really upset with that first half display. Portsmouth, you probably say Portsmouth are the last, if you like, of that team going up the table in this position now, in the trouble. It's 2 from Portsmouth downwards. Obviously Wednesday we're already gone. As for Derby, I never rule anything out with John Eustace. He just knows how to come up with game plans to disarm the opposition, and they are in an amazing position to try and knock out those above in the playoff positions. As you say, the gap could be bigger by the time the weekend comes, and they've got to respond to losing at Millwall. There's no shame in losing at Millwall. The form Millwall are in right now. But yeah, that's a huge game, and Portsmouth will be desperate to get that win just to give them a bit more breathing space between themselves and the bottom 3.
It's a bit counterintuitive with Derby, isn't it? Because you say they've got the manager who knows how to disarm opponents, but they've got a squad with a heck of a lot of firepower in it. Maybe not quite living up to maybe what we'd expect. If you look at the attacking options they have, maybe it's not quite the perfect match, the manager with the striking options, however much we do rate and love and think John Eustace is brilliant at what he does. Yeah,
I think, look, for me, wherever I've been, wherever John Eustace has been, I've been commentating on the games and talking to him quite a bit. For me, he does tend to come up with the perfect game plans to win games, to use their strengths. Yeah, he maybe wants more out of the forward-thinking players at times that he's got there, but you can't argue with the job he's done. No,
you can't. And we'll see if
even though I know you like an argument.
I do. I mean, it's just making conversation, really. Portsmouth are winless in 11 league games against Derby. However, Gary, they haven't beaten the Rams since 2008 in the Premier League.
Well, what do you think the score's going to be, Simeon? What's going on in that head of yours?
I'm going to go for a Derby win here. I'm going to say Derby to win 2-1 at Fratton Park.
Yeah, we got what we expected pretty much, did we not, from 2 neutrals. It's always interesting to hear what neutrals say. Well, no, it's sometimes interesting to listen to what neutrals have to say. They do tend to trot out the same old thing. The visiting side and the journalists connected with the visiting side trot out the fact that it's Fortress Pompey, it's a tight pitch, the crowd are very close, the crowd are the 12th man, and so on and so on and so on. It would have been interesting to hear if they had any further insight into Pompey's situation and Pompey's players and how they're playing and who's coming through and looking dangerous and looking good and who's looking a little bit tired. I'm amazed that they didn't dwell on Eboué Adams at all. You should do, you must do. It must look like John Eustace shot himself in the foot, letting him go the way he's playing. However, they decided not to. They decided to simply go for the obvious, which is to say that Derby will scrape a win. Now, we started a petition at Pompey Sound. I hope you're interested and I hope you'd like to sign it. The petition is very simply to register the dismay that football fans up and down the country have at all this random rescheduling of games, with rafts of games on a Friday night that people who have to do 200, 300 miles travel if they're going to be the away fans, or people have to disrupt their family life on a Saturday morning because they've got to get going to the match now at 10:30, 11 o'clock, whenever they do. If it's a 12:30 kickoff, goodness forbid that it's going to be an 8 o'clock kickoff, and we've had at least one of those because it just messes with the whole of the routine of your life. And we told Mick Robertson that we were doing this and that he should feel free, as he always does, to comment on this notion as he sees fit. Mick.
Hi, Sounders. It is Mick. I just wanted to talk for a moment about Pompey Sound's petition. We don't have, Sounders, a party line here on Pompey Sound that we all have to toe the line about something. We don't have that. The boss doesn't have approval over what we say. We're not like the news. We don't have to be careful. We say what we want, as long as it's not obviously obscene or slanderous or libelous or something like that. We don't want that sort of stuff on Pompey Sound, but we are free, men and women, to say what we like. And I wanted to talk about this petition because I like it. It's a good idea. It's a good idea to give people a say on stuff, on government, on current affairs, work and play. So why not sport? And football's the most important sport, so why not football on Saturday afternoons? Because it is disappearing, Sounders, isn't it? And not slowly. Of course, like most changes, it's about money and football authorities' greed. But we will end up poorer, ironically, if we allow everything to be ruled by money. So I support football on Saturdays for so many reasons. For a start, you could rely on it. Saturday, 3 p.m. We need things to rely on for our peace of mind, our stability, our family life, our convenience, knowing what we're doing, when we're going to do it, our ability to plan, and for social cohesion, an appointment to meet others, to be with friends, to talk, to laugh, to share. It's called being a human being. I appreciate, Sounders, things change, and that's not always a bad thing, but let's keep the good habits, the beneficial things and the traditions that we've enjoyed for so long, if we can. That's all. Have a think about the petition, Sounders, and sign it if you can. Play out, Pompey.
Well done, Mick. And if you would like to sign the petition, I was thinking of reading out the link, but reading out links, it's not easy to write it down and get it right because there's uppercase, lowercase, blah, blah, blah. So the best thing to do, if you are interested in signing the petition, and we'd be very grateful, we've been running about 24 hours. We've got 34 signatures. And in order to publicise it, we're trying to contact supporters groups, club supporters groups across the country and alert them to the petition and ask them if they would be good enough, if they agree with it, to sign. I haven't met a single football fan who says that it's much better that we don't know when the next game is, because sometimes they hardly give you any notice at all. Oh, you're going to be a Friday night game. That's great. We love that. We love that uncertainty. I've never, and Mick touched on it. I was going to finish the sentence. I've never heard a football fan say that yet. There are certain things that all football fans agree on. There's too much money in football. They agree on that. VAR's rubbish. They tend to agree on that. And they now agree that all this rescheduling is doing something to the fabric of the game and the fabric of their lives. So what I will do is give you an email address for us at Pompey Sound. And if you're interested in signing the petition, if you ping me an email, then I will reply with the link so that all you have to do is click on it. And our email address is radiopompey@gmail.com. So once again, quickly, radiopompey@gmail.com. Talk soon.